I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video. I make a lot of videos on my channel about how you should find a way to get paid to do what you love and just pursue whatever your passion is. And I've had a lot of you guys actually message me and tell me that you don't even really know what your passion is or what you actually want to do for a living, right? I think a lot of times this system kind of convinces us that our work is our identity, right? Like whatever is making you money is what your passion is. So when we're faced with the question of what would you be doing if money was not a factor, a lot of people don't know the answer to this question because a lot of times we haven't thought about our role in society and what our purpose actually is outside of making money. So in this video, I really want to explore why so many people don't even know what they're passionate about, but also give some advice on how you can find your passion if you're struggling to kind of figure out what that is. There's definitely this misconception, especially in America, that by the time you turn 18, by the time you graduate from high school, you need to have your passion picked out. You need to pick a major so you can invest in a college degree, right? And basically lock yourself into the system. And I can make a totally different video on the scam of the American higher education system and the debt enslavement that comes with it. But that all to say, if you're 18 or 25 or even 65 and you don't know what you're passionate about right now, that's totally normal. We're human beings, we are spiritual beings, right? And naturally, our passions, our interests, our hobbies are going to change as we grow and as we learn new things. And the idea that we are these stagnant robots who have the same interest in staying in the same career field for our entire lives until we turn 65, it's complete bullshit. No one wants to work until they're 65 and then start exploring what their other passions could have been outside of what was making them money. So I really encourage you not to stress if you don't know exactly what your passion is right now, no matter what your age is. We live in a system that kind of suppresses us from really exploring what we are actually interested in. So when we think about the question of what we would actually be doing if money wasn't a factor, again, a lot of us don't know the answer to that question because we only see our identities as what's making us money. When you think about it, in systems that don't underpay their workers and don't make them work ridiculous amounts of hours a week just to survive, people's jobs are not their identity. And I've seen a few YouTubers talk about this, specifically Kath Rout. Her video on this is really, really good. I'll link it down below. But she talks about how like in Sweden or like Denmark, you ask people what they do and their first answers might be like cyclist or a father or whatever. And then maybe fourth or fifth on that list will be what they actually do for work, for income, right? Whereas in America, that's very much not the case. Our identity is very much wrapped up in what we do. So while we fight for a system where our lives don't have to be our work, we all kind of need to find our roles in that fight, but we also need to find a way to be happy and enjoy life. I'm a firm believer in the fact that we're all spiritual beings. We're all put on this earth to enjoy life as much as we can. The best way to do that is by finding your passion, right? Finding what brings you joy, but also what gives you a chance to serve and help others and join this fight and making a more equitable world. And it's taken me a long time to learn and to explore different passions and hobbies and figure out that this is kind of like what I think my purpose is right now. So I really want to give you guys some advice on how to find your passion. And I really don't want to focus this video too much on the making money aspect of it. I think I'll make that into a separate video. But in this video, I really want to explore specifically what would you be doing if money was not a factor, right? And how can you figure out what the answer to that question is. We naturally as humans enjoy learning. Like I think most of us do, but I think a lot of times the pressure of a school system can really suck the passion out of learning. Most of us went through a K through 12 school system without even thinking about why we were doing it. We were just kind of thrown into it and we were taught subjects that we didn't even choose. And then we go to college and a lot of times we're just learning about subjects that we think that's gonna make us money, right? And so I really, really encourage you to find a way to learn about different topics outside of a classroom. At one point, my advisor told me, I had a really amazing advisor. She was awesome. And she told me, she was like, what is the one thing that you would be doing on a Saturday morning when you have no obligations, you have nowhere to be? What is that thing that you would really want to pick up a book about or want to learn about or watch a YouTube video about? Because whatever that thing is already giving you a sign of what your passion might be. So for me, I remembered my answer to that question was like, I really was into psychology. I also was really into YouTube because I just loved watching YouTubers and influencers and just the entire like marketing to me was something I was really passionate about, but specifically social media and YouTube and the come up of this whole platform was just super, super interesting to me. I've been watching YouTubers since I was like in early high school. So That for me was something that I didn't realize fully in college that was going to eventually develop into what it is today. With that all to say, I really encourage you to pick up some books, watch some YouTube videos, learn about whatever topic might be calling to you. A lot of times we don't need a college degree to be successful at something. There's so many free resources online, there's books, there's YouTube videos, dare I even say sometimes a course from those people who sell courses online, that might even be worth paying for if they're really experts in what they do. If you find yourself getting bored learning about a topic, then that's a sign it's probably not for you, right? You have to be very honest with yourself. I think a lot of people want to get into things that are gonna make them money, but I really encourage you, again, to really hone in on what you naturally are excited about. And that kind of brings me in my second tip, which is to not focus too much on the monetization part of finding your passion, right? If you're trying to find your true passion, what you actually care about, again, you need to take money outside of the equation, right? Do not make money a factor. When I have a lot of people message me about doing YouTube or making content and they tell me that they really want to do it because they know it pays really well, I always tell them very honestly, like, don't focus on the money. The money is not going to come if you start a YouTube channel right away. It might take a few months. It may even take like a year. You have to focus on the learning and the doing before you focus on how it's going to make you money. And again, it's really, really hard to do this in a system that makes it so money is so much of a factor in our lives. It's really hard to focus on things that are not going to make you money because you need money to survive. I encourage you to try to fight it as much as you can, and I encourage you to find another source of income outside of whatever passion you're pursuing so you can freely pursue that passion on the side, and that way you don't have to instantly try to monetize it, right? It's really hard to understand if you actually feel fulfilled by something, if you actually enjoy something, when that thing is paying your bills, when that thing is putting food on your table. So I really encourage you not to think too early on when you're trying to figure out what your passion is about money. So once you start learning a little bit about things that might interest you, the hardest part is always ripping off the band-aid and just start doing it. A lot of times it's really easy to learn about a topic and try to become an expert on it, but in reality, the best way to become an expert on something is by doing it. For me, when I knew I wanted to do YouTube full time, I spent so many hours watching YouTube growth video channels, like those videos that talk about like how to grow your audience and how to get this many subscribers in 30 days or whatever. I watched so many of those videos to a point where I was spending more time learning about how to be a good YouTuber than I was actually putting thought and time and effort into my videos, right? And so I really, really encourage you to eventually put the books down, put the YouTube videos down, and just start trying. This is the part where I think it's really important to recognize that you might try something, you might start doing something and realize that you absolutely hate it, right? It's really easy to watch other YouTubers be a YouTuber or watch other people invest in stocks and think it's for you. And then as soon as you start doing it, you're like, oh fuck, this is a lot harder than I thought. So I encourage you to start trying things, but if you don't like them, don't press it. The best way to learn if something is for you is by trying it, right? And by failing and seeing if you actually have the desire to pick yourself back up and learn even more, right? You have to fail at things a little bit before you're gonna get good at them. There's also so many ways to try things for an affordable price nowadays, which is why I'm so excited that Squarespace is sponsoring this video. If you guys ever wanna start your own online business or your own online presence, then you can easily use Squarespace as like your one-stop shop for doing that, right? They have marketing tools, they have analytics, they have a blogging platform and a way for you to connect your social media accounts if you're interested in content creation, right? It's so easy to start your own online presence now with things like Squarespace. So I really encourage you guys to go to squarespace.com/JanetteAtkins to get 10% off your first purchase and just start putting yourself out there, right? Because there's really no excuse at this point besides maybe not having enough time, right? Which actually leads me into my last tip, which is to eliminate distractions as much as you can. Again, in a system where some people have to work 40 hours a week and those hours are not work from home where we get to make our own schedule and do what we want, it's hard to actually find time to pursue our passion. So I encourage you to do your best to eliminate distractions as much as you can so you have as much time as possible to do things that fulfill you and bring you joy. So the first thing that really helped me with this is spending less time on social media. And this was really hard for me, and I'm sure it's probably hard for a lot of you too. If you're naturally, when you get home, when you're tired, if you're picking up social media, I get it. Don't get me wrong. I totally get it. But I promise you, if you learn to start breaking that habit and breaking that addiction, you can find more time to do things that actually fulfill you. I also think it's really important to spend less time on social media, because a lot of times it's really easy to get fooled into thinking that you are passionate about something because you're seeing other people do it and you see yourself maybe doing it too. But the more time that you're spending on social media, I've said this so many times in all my videos, but the more time you're spending on social media watching someone do something that you think you might be into, the more time you're taking away from you learning about that thing and doing that thing, right? So do not do what I did in 2020. Do not fall into the trap of just watching people do what you think you might be into all day, every day, right? Just start doing it. Look to other people for inspiration every now and then when you're taking a break, when you're eating a meal or driving, listen to a podcast, whatever, get inspiration, but don't let that get in the way of you doing what you love. The other thing that I recommend for eliminating distractions is just doing less things that don't actually serve you. This can be things like drinking or partying too much or sleeping too much or watching Netflix for too long, right? And again, this can be really hard because in a culture where we're overworking, a lot of times we just want to escape and we want to do things, even if they don't actually fulfill us, we want to do things that maybe numb us a little bit or kind of take us away from the world that we live in, the frustrations of everyday life. It's totally normal to want to go and party and go out and watch TV for hours a day or whatever, right? But in reality, that time again is just taking away from you doing things that maybe actually fulfill you. I really encourage you to implement some kind of self-care routine in your day, and not even just so you can pursue a passion, but really just to give yourself time to check in with yourself and your emotions and see how you're doing every day. But then also you want to give yourself time to do things that really give you a chance to express your creativity, right? And again, while you're trying to figure out what your passion may be, you need time to do that. You have to carve out time intentionally to do that and allow yourself that space to find what your passion may be. And you don't have to do it like a treasure hunt. Like, you can really play and explore and enjoy life and try new things every week and just see what you're feeling. That's totally okay. And I just really encourage you to do your best while it can be really hard, not to focus so much on the money aspect and to really just enjoy life and play in it and see what you maybe love to do and see what just brings you natural joy, right? So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Let me know in the comments down below some things that you maybe want to explore or try doing maybe this summer when you maybe have more time. I know a lot of us are working 9 to 5, so it's not really a real summer for us, but let me know in the comments down below like what this season is inspiring you to try. I've been really enjoying cooking more and being outside in nature. And yeah, I'm just really excited to share that with you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.